Welcome to another special edition of Litter Media Live. I'm Dan Ramey, and we have guests in studio today to talk about All Because of the Sun. This is a follow-up interview with Melody Knoles. We'll tell you more about it and introduce our guests here right after this from our friends at the Kingston National Bank.
Our financial lives have never been more complex, and some decisions just can't wait, which is why our K&B Mobility app gives you instant access to the financial tools you need wherever you are. Get a clear picture of all of your accounts, check your daily transactions, receive account alerts, and much more. So no matter where you are or what you are doing, you can make the best decisions for you and your financial goals. Download our Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
All Because of the Sun is coming up here shortly, and April 6th is the date for this event. Melody Knoles joins us now. You've been putting this together for how many weeks now?
Well, we started at the end of January, so...
Do the math, right?
I know. 7, 8.
Yeah. But you've had several rehearsals. You still have some rehearsals to go. You're beyond the recruitment phase. And now we maybe would still take people this week. Yeah.
But yeah, we've only got 3 practices left, so the last 2 are pretty much dress rehearsals.
Right.
So.
Now the gentleman to your left, we met back in December, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was late November, getting ready for their sock campaign that the folks at the Rotary Club was doing. And we have with us, I'll start on the far end over here, we have, I can't remember your rank.
I don't have one.
He doesn't have a rank. He's just Ricky Cook.
Youth Ministry Coordinator.
But he's the Youth Ministry Coordinator, yes. And we have Lieutenant Travis Payne with us from the Salvation Army. You guys, have been involved from the beginning with this? Or did you join in late?
Because of the sun?
Yes.
Pretty much from the get-go. Yeah. I remember meeting Melody, and she came and introduced herself, and immediately she was like, excuse me, she's like, can you sing? And I was like, well, I can. But yeah, we've kind of been pretty involved from the start, and we're happy to say that 2 of our congregation members are actually in the choir this year. Great. Which is awesome. So.
Yeah. And Ricky is, of course, being a part of the youth ministry. Have any kids shown interest at all?
The kids shown interest. So Into the Sun, one of the members, one of the young adults in the choir does participate in the choir this year, Yeah. And the kids, yes, they love singing in that specific one, that young adult. She actually teaches a vocal class on Tuesdays for us at the choir. Oh. So it's just an interest that's slowly growing and developing.
Yeah, that's great. Melody, this started with, hey, who wants to participate? Because this has been on hiatus for a few years.
It has been.
But it was a regular deal.
Yes, we started, Kay French and I, she wasn't able to be here today, but we started this back in 2006. And we had these every 3 years, just for anybody in the community that wanted to just get together and sing praise to God. Mm-hmm. And we had 4. So we had 06, 9, 12, and 15. 15 was the last one, so we haven't done it for 9 years. It was just not working out in 18 when it would have been the next one, just busy schedules. Then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So people were asking about it. Are we ever going to do this again? You know, we're getting older. Are we going to ever do this again? And we said, well, okay, what do you think about this year? This would have been the 3-year mark. So she said, sure, let's do it. And so everybody's really excited. And typically we would have maybe 25, 30 people at the first rehearsal in the past when we've done this, and then it kind of gradually built. This year we had 64 at the first practice.
Wow.
So we were amazed.
Awesome. That's amazing.
And we've been pretty regular around the 60 mark each week. There's a lot of things going on out there, so not everybody can come every week, which is fine. But we probably won't know how many we'll have until dress rehearsal. But we have 85 on the roster.
And I imagine
right now.
A number of your singers probably are very much involved in their churches and
they are.
with Easter performances and things of that sort. So they're doing dual duty.
Right.
And stretching those voices as best they can.
They are. It is the week after Easter. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a fun thing. You know, well, let's get Easter over with, and then let's just have this great big praise service, you know. And we do have 30 churches represented.
That's fantastic.
30.
And
That's awesome.
for folks who are not familiar with the Salvation Army, who most only see around Thanksgiving to Christmas during your bell drives or kettle drives, Salvation Army is a church, and you have a 365 day a year ministry, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We, Salvation Army is a church. We have church services on Sundays. We have Bible study. We have Sunday school. You know, we are widely known for, you know, the social services aspect. But, you know, throughout the week we have various different ministries and things like that going on. So, the church aspect of it is something that we're still trying to kind of promote to the world. Like, hey, we are, you know, we do hold services and all of that. So, but thankfully around here, it's, you know, we've been able to get that message out and across for the most part. So, that's been exciting to see.
And Travis, in your position, it's, what is it? They rotate every 2 years or thereabouts?
So you're referring to the officers, or
Yes.
So it depends. If you are a single officer, as myself, it's more likely that you'll probably get rotated around more frequently, every 2 to 3 years. Larger families that we have, you know, 4 or 5. Typically, they kind of stay in one appointment for 5 years, but it's kind of based on what the needs of the Army are. Is that specific officer or pastor, are they working out at their current location? Are there issues there? Or do they need to be, you know, moved to a different area? You know, there's a lot of different factors that are taken into consideration. But yeah, 3 to 5 years is kind of the limit there.
So you're investing everything you have now in this area while you can.
Yes.
These two need to stay.
Yeah.
They need to stay around here. They are exactly what this community needs.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I think I am, but I've been told that I haven't. There are no plans for me to go anywhere just yet. So, this is only. I've only been here just over a year. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And you want to establish yourself as best you can with your community. And now, Ricky, if I remember correctly, your position is not like that, right?
My position is not like that, no.
Yeah.
So I was hired on. I'm hired on as a worker. They scouted me out a little bit, and I got approached by what is both of our bosses. And they approached me with this job position before they listed it. And they just thought it was a great opportunity for me, and I felt the same way. And so, you know, I took up the job. I've been here for about a year now. Finally hit my year mark last month, and so it's just it's a great opportunity, and I just love this community.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned was it with 30 churches together.
30.
We all know each other in some facet, but we're really close to our church community. And when we can get those churches together, you find how much you have in common.
We do. We do. The practices are literally like a worship service, aren't they?
They're
They're
beautiful.
very worshipful.
Powerful.
And it's just amazing to see everybody from all those different congregations. We're all there for the same reason, just sitting in that congregation and just singing their hearts out. So, yeah, and we're really happy to be able to give our love offering this time to the Salvation Army for their youth programs.
Now, Melody, this will take place at Calvary Lutheran Church.
Yes.
Okay.
Get there early and get a seat because we are limited space. Yeah. But we're going to pack them in.
For folks who have never visited Calvary before, it's right downtown. And what's the congregation size for being able to seat? Can they seat 400 people?
Well, legally,
What's the legal size?
We're in trouble today.
300 and some.
Yeah.
But
okay.
we've had close to 400 in there. The first concert we had close to that, standing room only. Yeah, we have the balcony. So if we have to, we'll put a screen in the youth room and put people in there and let them, put them in the narthex, put them wherever we can get them. Because the choir will be on the platform, so we won't be taking up space in the congregation. So. Come early, and we do have music starting at 6:30. The concert starts at 7, but we do have preview music starting between 6:30 and 7 because we figure there'll be a lot of people there coming with families and the singers, so they'll want to get there early, and we want them to be able to listen to some music. So we're going to start that at 6:30.
And you have recently upgraded your technical side there at Calvary Lutheran, so broadcasting this out to other locations is easy.
Right. We were hoping to be able to do live stream, but with some of the music that we're doing, we don't want to get in any trouble with copyright.
Licensing agreements.
Yeah, licensing. So we are recording it, and so we'll be able to play it. Legally, we can do that. We can record it and then play it later. But we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
We've got the guy that put in our sound system, Corey Hall. He's actually our tech guy that night. So
Good.
he's been a tremendous help.
Corey's a good boy. I've known him for a long time.
Yes,
He's a grown man now, but I've known him since he was a boy.
Yes.
So, for folks who want to see this, again, there's no admission charge,
No.
but you are taking a love offering.
We are. Yeah, we'll sing about 5 songs and then take a break and take up a collection, and we'll have somebody there to kind of explain what we're doing this for from the Salvation Army, a representative, and then we'll take up the offering, and then we will actually give that money to them that evening. Mm-hmm. We're not keeping that at the church. That's going to go right back in their hands that night.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, and every cent of it will go to them.
That has to be a big boost.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the goals that we had in mind for the programs of the Salvation Army, which is, again, the reason why Ricky is there, is just because we both feel so strongly and passionately about youth programs and the youth in the various communities that we go into. I have a history with youth work myself, really starting since I was like 14 or 15. I started working at a camp, and Ricky kind of has a similar path and testimony. And so we've come into this community and we're like, okay, well, what can we really do? And as you know, the Salvation Army is a nonprofit, so there's not a lot of funds in the bank to do the things that we would like to do with the various youth programs, with our music ministry and our teen group that we do on Fridays, as well as some other programs that we would love to get started in the near future. So the love offering from this would definitely be a big means to helping launch those efforts and kind of keep us afloat as well. So
I know we talked when we first met about your upbringings and from Cincinnati and from the Pittsburgh area. Explain, if you would, for those watching, the difference between those metropolitan type areas and then coming to small rural Chillicothe, Ohio. It's like a big little city or a little big city.
I'll let you take this one because I was born in Pittsburgh, but a lot of the areas that I lived in, aside from the last 3 years where I was in Philly and New York, a lot of the areas that I grew up around were actually kind of smaller. So I'm more used to the smaller kind of, I don't want to call it country-ish, but I don't know what other word to use, country-ish town, where Ricky, was born, raised, lived in the city. So I'll let you take this one.
So for me, I was born and raised right outside of downtown Cincinnati. So from my hometown, we're actually the hill that overlooks downtown. So when I say that there's a few differences, I think the main one is just like the amount of people and the sense of community. Because in big cities, you have a lot of people, but the sense of community isn't always there. Yeah. Whereas when I came here, it was immediate, like people started to learn my names when I walked in places more often. They know who I am. They know what I want to drink at restaurants. They know I want that pitcher of lemonade when I walk in. And it was just a sense of like community every single time I came here. And it was amazing just to live here for the past year and just understand that there are little towns like this that I only saw in the movies originally, but also just like the different needs of those two different types of communities as well, where, in the bigger city, you have a lot more traffic, you have a lot more people, and they are still in need. But here in this community, it's slightly different in the fact that just there's people, there's not as many people, but like you said, this is a big little city or a little big city. And it just feels as though it's just like there's people who are ready to help you out with that. There's people who are in the community that support us, to support the teen group. And it's just so wonderful to see that just transpire over the year I've been here.
Yeah. Was this the Mount Adams area that you came from?
Sorry, what?
Was that the Mount Adams area that you came from? Or
for me,
yeah.
My hometown? In Cincy, no. I come from a place in Cincy called Price Hill.
Price Hill. Price Hill. Okay. I'm familiar with some of it, but I wanted to make sure
Yes, so if you stand downtown and you look up at the giant hill next to you, that's my hometown up there. Wouldn't recommend going up the hill. But however.
Especially during the wintertime, right?
Especially during the wintertime.
Well, this event has brought people together in a great way, and it's rewarding. no doubt your practices, as you say, are like worship services. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like the night of.
Well, you better be there.
I'm required now. I've been given instructions.
Yes.
All because of the sun, and that's going to be Calvary Lutheran Church. Again, the event begins at 7, but you want to be there in place beforehand.
Right. The choir starts at 7. The preview music starts at 6:30.
Right.
I would encourage people to come at 6:30 because there's some good music, beforehand too.
Doors will be open by 5? 6? Okay. 6 o'clock. Bring your shoehorn. You might have to be put into a tight spot. But you'll get to
We'll fit you in.
And I have a feeling the seats won't be used. I just have this feeling that you're going to
They'll
be standing up
a
and
lot.
praising
Yes.
and
they
everything.
can park in Walnut Street parking lot also because we're right downtown. So there's limited parking there, on the street out on Main Street. And then we have a parking lot behind us.
Right.
So there are some other parking lots around there that they can park in.
Very good.
Yes.
We learned a lot of that from the church tours back during the holidays. So,
Right.
again, the event is April 6th. You won't want to miss it, and make sure that you get there and keep an eye because if they do change minds on live streaming, you might be able to watch some of it at some point in time. But be there in person. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh, thank you for doing
you
this.
for
Thanks for
having
sharing
us.
about Salvation Army as well. We appreciate that. Ricky, sorry.
No worries.
Lieutenant Travis Payne and Melody Knoles. I'm Dan Ramey. Thanks for watching. Our daily program is coming up here shortly, so stick with us. Thanks for watching Litter Media Live.